mother, father, everyone that we knew lived in fear.
Pathetic.
Hate that I was too small.
Too weak.
Yes.
And that you failed
Yes!
to protect her.
Yes!
And that you let her die.
There's a lot of spectacle to this movie, and there's so much, how are they going to play it? Because this could be a terribly funny movie, or it could be straight up action film, which it is.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it could be a straight up film with a wink that this is, or it could be a terribly funny for the first 5 minutes film. I mean, I think that's the choice. I don't think it's possible to do an extended, as someone said, SNL sketch that lasts for an entire movie without the joke wearing really thin. So I think this is the right tone to strike. That there is a knowledge that that's a kind of funky title, but then if that is a joke, it's one that's played dead straight.
There's a timelessness to monster movies, but for you, how does this movie keep it fresh? Aside from just the premise that it's a former president that slaughters.
I think Timur has an extremely unique style, and when you see the film, if you've seen his other films, you can kind of say, okay, that's one of his films. He really puts his mark on it in a way that's really exciting, and I think his version of the vampire is very grotesque, but very kind of beautiful to watch at the same time, but terrifying. But there's a real artistry to the way that he does it, even though it is action-packed. For me, it's really incredible and different.
His action sequences always stood out for me in all his films, to be very different, using different ideas and techniques. And suddenly, I think with this film, I've never seen 3D used in this way, where it's very specific choices of where it should be used to enhance the action rather than just everything, and it becoming quite exhausting. So I think he's been really careful with choices.
Were you looking to other vampires for inspiration, or was there any kind of image or character that came to your mind?
Well, it's so wonderfully written. In the book, he's for me a kind of lost soul and very sad. And although he is quite cool, that comes from his sort of desperation to be something other than he is. And he's very, very conflicted. And he's I suppose, an old-fashioned sort of junkie in a way. He's lost, after losing the love of his life, he's kind of lost his sole purpose, and so now it's all about seeking revenge. And therefore, so the idea of him changes quite massively, because you think that he's doing everything for the benefit of mankind and for the good of people, but whereas actually it's all just to get revenge and then probably keel over and die.